Long, long ago, in a land far, far away, people would tell each other stories, tales of myths and legends. So pull up by the fire and let me tell you a tale from Somewhen Else. Once, there lived an old man and an old woman. The old man had his own daughter, and the old woman, she had her own as well. The old woman, she pampered her daughter, doted on her, and made the old man's daughter do all the work. She scolded her for everything and abused her and bit her head off. She didn't even give her stepdaughter enough food to eat. The girl, though, she consented to all the work, and she did as she was ordered to. She did everything great. People looked at her, and they could not give enough praise. But when people looked at the old woman's daughter, they had nothing good to say. They had things like, here she is, she cannot weave and spin. Here she is just idle and lazy. The old woman would become angry and more quarrelsome. She would bite the girl's head off at every little thing, and she would blame her. But, most of all, in the back of her mind, she would think about how to kill her. Deep and dark. One day, the old man, he went to the town. He needed to get to the market. And the evil old woman, she colluded with her daughter. Now we will do this to that hateful girl. We will do her in. So the old woman called upon her stepdaughter and ordered, go to the wood and bring us some brushwood. We have quite enough brushwood, the little girl replied. The old woman started crying and stamping her feet and fell on the girl with her daughter, and they pushed her out of the house, the little hut. So the girl, she saw that there was nothing to be done about all this, and she went out into the wood. The frost was crackling, the wind was howling, and there was a heavy snowstorm. The old woman, with her daughter, where they were still in the warm hut, they said to each other, that hateful girl, she will not come back. She will freeze up in the woods. And the girl, out in the woods, went alone into the forest. She stayed under a thick fir tree and did not know where to go and what to do. Suddenly, though, she heard noise and crackles. It was Father Frost, riding through a fir grove, the birch forest, and skipping from tree to tree, crunching and clicking. He went down from the fir tree and said, how do you do, fair maiden? Why have you come to my woods in such a severe cold? And Father Frost would listen to her, and he would say, no, fair maiden, you were not sent here for brushwood. Well, if you come to my wood, then show me what a mistress you are. So Father Frost gave her a towel and a distaff. Spin threads out of this towel, weave cloth, and sew me a shirt out of that cloth, Father Frost told the girl, and then he took off. The girl, she didn't think too much about all this, and she started her work at once. Her fingers, though, they were frozen, so she would breathe her warm breath onto them, and she worked again, and the whole night she did that. Spinning, breathing on her fingers, she did not stop working. She thought just about one thing, how to sew the shirt. In the morning, she heard the noise again, the crackling of the fir trees, and there was Father Frost. He looked at the shirt, and he praised her. Well, fair maiden, you worked well. Here, Father Frost, he brought forth a large, forged trunk, put it in front of the girl, and said, like work, like reward. After that, he put on a warm fur coat on the girl, tied a patterned kerchief around her head, and he led her to the road. Goodbye, fair maiden. Here you will find good people to help you get home. Father Frost said that, and he disappeared as if he was never there. At around that time, the old man, he would come back home. Where is my daughter? He asked his wife. And his wife replied, she went to the wood for brushwood, and she did not make it back. The old man was anxious, so he did start harnessing his horse, again because he just got home and unharnessed it, and he drove out to the wood. And as he glanced, his daughter, she was standing near the road, well dressed and merry. The old man, he seated her in his sleigh, and he put Father Frost's trunk with all the presents there in the sleigh and took her home. The evil old woman, with her daughter sitting at the table eating pies, and they were saying to each other, "Well, she did not come back home alive. The old man is going to just bring her bones. And then maybe all of our neighbors will help throw a funeral party, and we will eat better." But the dog, the little dog, he was barking near the stove, and he was all like, "Bow wow, bow wow. The old man's daughter is going to bring such expensive presents, and no one will marry your daughter, old woman." The old woman, she gave the dog some pies and beated him with a poker. "Shut up, nasty. Just say the old woman's will be married and the old man's daughter will be brought dead." But the dog, he repeated all the time, again and again, "The old man's daughter will bring presents and the old man's daughter will not be married." Here, they could hear the gate squeak. The door to the hut was open, and the girl, she came in well dressed and rosy, and her dad brought in the large trunk following her, decorated with frosty patterns. The old woman and her daughter rushed to the trunk, and they started to ask questions as they took out and examined all the costumes, the clothes, and the presents. They put them on the bench, and they were like, "Who gave you such an expensive present?" And as the old woman knew that Father Frost gave the present to the girl, they began to bustle, wrapped her daughter warmly, gave her the bundle with pies, and told the old man to take her out in the wood. "She is going to bring home 2 such trunks," the old woman said. So the old man brought his stepdaughter, the old woman's daughter, to the woods and left her under a high fir tree. She was standing looking around and just upset. Why is Father Frost? Why has he not come for such a long time? Where is he? Why is he so disappeared? Finally, the mean daughter, she heard noises, the crackles of the branches, and Father Frost, he was riding through the fir grove, and he was skipping from tree to tree, crunching and clicking. He went down from the fir tree, and he asked, "Why have you come to me, fair maiden?" And the girl, the other girl, replied, "Don't you know yourself? I have come for expensive presents." Father Frost, he smiled a little smile and said, "Just show me what a fine mistress you could be. Knit me some mittens." Here, he gave her a knitting needle and a ball of wool, and he left. The old woman's daughter, she looked at the knitting needles, and she threw them in the snow. She pushed the ball of wool with her legs. Look at what that old one came up with. Who ever heard such a thing as to knit in such severe cold? So I can get my fingers frostbitten? No way. In the morning, when the crackers and the crunches came, so did Father Frost. "Well, fair maiden, show me how you coped with the work I gave you." And the old woman's daughter rushed to him and said, "What a work! Old Noodle, are you blind? Can't you see? I'm chilled to the bones, waiting for you here, and I am more than half done." "Well, like work, like award," Father Frost said. She shook his beard, and the snowstorm and the blizzard began. All the paths, all the roads were covered, and Father Frost disappeared as if he was not there. The old woman's daughter, that harpy, she dragged herself along the road without knowing how deep the ravine was ahead, and she became covered with snow. In the morning, the old woman, she shook the old man very early. She woke him up and she ordered him to go to the wood and find her daughter. Here, she herself started to bake pies. The dog was sitting under the bench, and he was barking again. "Bow wow! Bow wow! The old woman's daughter is not going to come back from the wood." The old woman threw pies at the dog and hit him again with the poker painfully. "Shut up, you nasty! Eat the pie and never say such things again. Better say, my daughter's going to be bringing home expensive gifts, and the old man's daughter will not find a fiancé." The dog eats a pie, and he repeats again, "Bow wow! Bow wow! The old man's daughter will marry, and the old woman's daughter will not come back from the wood." The old woman, she was startled. What if something's bad has happened? What if something happened along the road? Or what if they lose all the expensive gifts? I will run, and I will find the old man and help. So she put on a fur coat, and she ran to the wood. The snowstorm was howling and whirling, even stronger than before. The whole road was covered. The evil woman, she lost her way, and she too ended up covered with snow. The old man, he was looking for the old woman's daughter for quite some time, and he was having no luck finding her. Neither him or his daughter could find her in all that snow. So they came back, and there was no old woman at the warm hut. So he gathered his neighbors, and they all started to look for the old woman and the daughter. They looked for and they looked for them all over. They dug out snowdrifts, and they still did not find them. And the old man, they started to live with his daughter again, as it was before he was married. And when spring came, a fine young man, a smith from the smithy, asked her hand in marriage. They celebrated a merry wedding and lived in love and harmony, and so they lived that way until the end of their days. Hey there, if you made it this far in the video, you have many thanks from me. Thank you for listening to this old Yuletide tale from Somewhen Else. And if you've got a moment, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and maybe check out any other videos I have on my channel. Otherwise, please take care, keep safe, and happy Yuletide to all of you.